Hi all, welcome. This is a project for older grades. So we're kind of taking a look at, some really cool Celtic knots in consideration of some of these lessons you're learning in school. Specifically 6th grade, you're learning about medieval times, and I'm kind of focusing on illuminated manuscripts. And an illuminated manuscripts is a very embellished book that they would really decorate letters and words with. So I wanted to show you how to do a Celtic knot, and it's actually kind of a fun just doodling project if you don't necessarily want to do an illuminated manuscript. So I can show you both. I'll just show you what I mean by that illuminated manuscript, and then also just as a doodling fun process. So if you want to do the illuminated manuscript, the first thing I would suggest is actually just drawing a big letter, and that I would suggest doing the first letter of your name. So I'm going to do a B. I'm going to do my best work drawing this nice letter B, but I'm also going to make it into a shape, because that's what they would do in illuminated manuscripts. So I've got my B here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these Celtic knots or things inside the letter. So I'm going to save that for a little bit later. What you're going to do is you're going to just kind of create your own knots. You can take a look at actual Celtic knots, and that will be something that will be part of the packet if you want to take a closer look at that. But the idea is that you're going to create a knot of your own as a practice, and I'll show you how to do that. So the best way to start this is actually by using a marker of some sort. You could use a highlighter, you could use just a Crayola marker. If you don't have either of those things, I can show you how to do this without it. So I'm going to show you with, let's say, an orange marker. So basically, to draw a knot, you're just going to just draw like a squiggly line, and you can cross over. As long as you start and stop in the same place, it will work. And then another thing you need to keep in mind is you're only ever crossing over a line once. So I'm not going to go around and then cross over this again. I have to make sure that there's only one crossing on each line. Okay, so I've got that. The next thing you do is you'd grab something else to draw with. Pen works really well with this if you're doing it with a marker. And you're going to go to each crossing and decide which line is going over and which line is going under. So for example, if we start at this one and I decide, hey, I want this one to be on top, this one's going to be under, I'm going to draw a line on both sides, just like that. So now it looks like this line is kind of crossing underneath this line. It's kind of like it's going underneath the bridge, or this is going over the bridge. So I'm going to do that on each of my crossings, and the thing that makes it look really like a knot is that you do the opposite. So this one has been on top, so now it's going to go under. So now this line is going to be the one that goes over. So now it's going under the bridge, just like that. And I'm going to keep going along the line. So it's under, now it's going to go over, just like that. And then one more under. Okay, so I've got that. And then the next thing that makes it really look like a 3D sort of knot is that you're just going to bold out all of those sides, just like that. So it makes it look like it's an actual type of like rope or ribbon or something like that. And it's actually quite fun to just doodle this. It's really a good sort of meditative thing to do. I like doing this on my own when I have time. I'm just going to draw these lines and connect them to the overs and unders that I assigned to these crossings. Connect them to those crossings like we just talked about. And now it really looks like it's something that is, it looks almost like a ribbon right there. And if you practice this, then you'll really get the hang of it really quite nicely. A really fun Celtic knot is actually you just do something like this. Just go over and under, well, not over and under, but it looks like little waves like that. And then you, let's see if I can show you. You go ahead and go the other way. And you connect it. So you have to start and stop at the same place, and that is one of the rules. And you only cross lines once. Okay, that's another rule. And then you assign those overs and unders. So this one I'm going to decide is going over. Now it's going under, and this is actually kind of a very easy process right here. This. Work out your crossings before you start folding out the rest of those lines. This. And then you're going to bring those lines and stop where you started those other lines. Okay. So that's really fun. And I don't want to take your time by finishing this out, but I just wanted to show you the process. So that is one of those really cool Celtic knots that you could try. One that I wanted to show you was how you could do this with just pencil. So what I'm going to do is, if you don't have a marker or a pen, you can just you're going to want to lightly sketch out your practice knot, and it's the same rules. You're only going to cross over once, and you're going to start and stop in the same place. And then you're going to follow that same movement that you started with. And you're just drawing like a double line. And you're going to need an eraser if you're doing this with just pencil. So I'll show you once I get there. So basically you've got that double line, and then you'll take your eraser and you'll once again decide which one, which crossings are going to be overs and unders. So for this one, I'm going to decide that this line right here is going to go under. So I'm going to erase that inside that line. And then, let's see, this one was, I'll take my pencil and I'll darken these lines because I drew it very lightly at first, so that I could draw that double line easier. So now this is over. It's going to go under here. So I'm going to bold out those crossings with my pencil. And so I'm going to go along. So this one's over. It's going to go under now. So this one's going to be the over. This is kind of like the bridge. And I'll erase the inside. And this is why it's really important to draw lightly at first, so that you are able to erase when you want to. And this one's over, so now this one's going to go under here. Just like that. And I'll erase that line. And then I'll bold out those other lines and make it look like I didn't have to erase anything. Just make it look like we did it perfect from the start, even though it took some time, right? The funny thing about art is when you look at artwork, you don't realize that the product you're looking at was, there were lots of mistakes and lots of trials and errors that you're not seeing because they worked out those kinks and erased things in the process. So the process is really fun, and that's what it looks like if you just do it with pencil. Now how you can relate this to an illuminated manuscript is that you can just do that very small, or if you have like a big paper, you can do it bigger, but I'm going to do it small inside my letter. And actually in illuminated manuscripts, you would see this type of thing a lot. Let's see if I can start and stop at the same place. And then I'm going to do it again to make this type of one inside my letter. And it ends up looking really cool. And you'll assign those overs and unders. It's a really nice sort of brain activity. I'm doing it with a marker so you can see the process quicker. But once again, I'm going to look for those crossings and I'm going to assign overs and unders. So that one's an over, that one's an over, because now it's going under, right? So you're gonna kind of practice that type of pattern, because it ends up looking more like a rope if you do that. If you don't want to do the illuminated manuscript, but you still want to try out some Celtic knots, there's a really fun one that you could try. All you do is you start making I'll do it with the orange so you can see it a little better. You start with like an eye shape, and this one's very very Irish actually. So I got this eye shape, and I'm going to draw another one inside of it. That. And I'm going to draw another one right there. And this is called, I forget what it's called. It's like the Trinity or something. And then you assign those overs and unders. And if you want to take it a step further, you could also put a circle around it. It's a really cool Irish Celtic knot. So now I'll assign the overs and unders not only in this, but in the circle too. So let's start with a circle maybe. I'll do this one going over, and now this one's going under. Right? I'm going to do that all the way around, so it had a chance to be over already. Now it's going to take a turn going under and over. Same thing, under, then over. Okay, and I like to actually go through all of my crossings before I build out the outside, so I'm going to try to do that on the inside as well. So this one was over, so now I'm going to go under, over, under. Okay, so once I have that, it's a lot easier to finish it out. You can try your hand at some of these other Celtic knots if you want to challenge yourself and try something new. Just like that. And make sure that you don't draw a line accidentally through the crossing that you're kind of going under. And it looks like that when it's done. So it's really fun. Oh, I missed a line. There we go. So if you want to try the illuminated manuscript, make sure you have a big letter and then you write the rest of your name smaller, because that's how it was. And you can really embellish your name and around your name with color and with Celtic knots. And it's a really fun doodling / really kind of sort of a good study into this type of artwork that was really prevalent in the Middle Ages. So have fun, show me what you got, and send me shoot me an email if you want to send me a picture of what you've done. I'd love to see it. Okay, have fun, happy drawing.